Sunday Soundoff with Aaron Ladd.
Sunday Soundoff is the show, and watch out because the S's are wild today with our three panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off with the Royals, who, since we're talking about S words, they got to be scorching hot. They're tops of the AL Central. Let's go to Darren Smith on this first. Big deal, little deal, no deal, the Royals start to the season.
I think it's a big deal, obviously, for them to, one, be over 500, and not just over 500, but at 3 games over 500. I think it's a big deal. You look at their lineup, it's very professional from top to bottom. The manner in which they've won some of the games, as well as the manner in which they've come back to win. Obviously, a doubleheader on yesterday and coming back at the bottom of the 7th inning to, with the Salvi splash or the Salvi home run that he was able to, knock out the ballpark. I think it's good. I think it builds morale for the team. I think it builds character, and it also, to me, in my opinion, kind of greenlights everything that the owner, has done in the offseason to make this team better and competitive thus far.
Shaun, we know you usually write about Sporting Kansas City, but what have you seen from the Royals thus far?
Aaron, baseball's fun again. I'm loving it. And, it's giving me vibes of the 2014-15 small ball days. I'll try not getting a rant here, but what I'm loving about this Royals team right now, it is the small ball. I think baseball, we've seen it, the home run balls become bigger and bigger over these last few years, and it's worked. But, when you've got a team that I think they've hit, before today's Blue Jays game, 12 home runs in 13 games, they're keeping the train moving, and it's really fun to watch. Should we get hype about it? Yeah, we're above 500, but it's still early days. It's a long season, right? So I'm tempering my expectations, but I am loving Royals baseball right now.
Soren, I can just see the look on your face. 13 games means what so far for the Royals?
Well, it means we're getting ready for the end of the first quarter of the second game of week 2 of a Chiefs season, right? So we're not far in. If you had a rough first week and you're trailing going into the second quarter, are you panicked and freaking out? No. Are you ready to plan the parade route? No. But I do think I agree with what Shaun said. I think for Royals fans, enjoy it. I think too much of fandom these days is based upon the outcome. Did you enjoy the season? Well, I'll tell you after I find out if we win the championship. Well, the journey is part of the fun, and the journey right now is fun. And so I think every Royals fan should embrace it and should go all in for as long as they're in a good spot. Look at 4-4. They opened 3-1, then they went 1-3, and you were sitting there going, well, I'm not sure. Were those first 2 games? Was it just the Rangers? The one thing that's clear is that they weren't playing great baseball, and they had things they were missing: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the lineup weren't hitting. They weren't getting starting pitching, but they were still 500. That's a mark of a team that can win in a lot of different ways. And so, yeah, I think they are what their record says they are, 8-5. They've beaten some good teams. They haven't lost a series. And so I think there's a lot of reason for Royals fans to believe that this is going to be a competitive team, at least for this entire season.
I'm going to use something you said there to segue into our next topic. That's on Sporting Kansas City's opener. You said the Royals have been winning in a variety of different ways, and Sporting Kansas City has done the same exact thing with a lot of their major pieces not playing in the opener against the New York Red Bulls. Soren, what did you see from them in Game 1?
Well, I think you hit upon it. When you can go out there and win, when you don't have Russell and Polito 90 minutes fit, and they're able to just, be pieces at the end, when you're able to take on some water, right, have some adversity in New York, you're down 1-0, and you could be, very easy to just kick the can around, and they fight right back. They, some people say, well, you get a ball, get a PK off a handball, but you create those opportunities. You're putting pressure on them. You've got the ball down on their side of the field, and those things happen, and then just strike right back and get it in. To see Daniel Shalhoub get a goal, hadn't scored since 2019, and so there's all these pieces that have looked pretty good at times, and if you can win, it's kind of like the Royals, not winning with the middle of your lineup hitting. If you're going to win when you don't have your best striker up top and the team captain out on the wing, I think it's a sign that you're and a backup keeper who played very well. Let's not forget that. I think there's a lot of reason to be really excited, even though the odds makers have this as a matchup between 2 middle of the pack teams. If you look at the odds that are up there, I think Sporting's better than that, and I think they showed it last night.
We're talking odds now. So Darren Smith, what do you say about Sporting Kansas City?
Well, Soren kind of took my gusto when you talk about gambling, but when this upcoming season, we were talking about a little bit of it earlier today on the show. Sporting Kansas City, they're always in the mix. Obviously, Peter Vermeesen and the way that this team is built and constructed, I think that this upcoming season, I think their biggest challenge is probably going to be Los Angeles, I think, LAFC. And if that's the case, they play 3 games against them. I think that's going to be where they put their measuring stick on how well that they'll do this season. I'm looking forward to, obviously, Friday's opener against Orlando, and we'll just go from there.
Shaun, take us home. What do we do right and what do we do wrong?
Yeah, I guess jumping off, what Darren was saying of LAFC, and you've got guys like Seattle and Portland in the league, and I think those kind of teams should definitely be the benchmark. Yesterday, they come from behind win, go down 1-0, quickly score 2 goals. I still wake up in sweats at night sometimes thinking about 2019 and 2020. Sporting is leading, 93rd minute equaliser. They give away late goals to lose points. So it's good to kind of see the flip side this time. They come back, they score 2 goals, and then when you do get to bring guys off the bench like Pulido and Johnny Russell, you love to have them starting. But the backup, so to speak, or the replacements for those guys have come in, they've done their job. And then, the main guys have come out off the bench and they closed out the game beautifully. Hold of play was great. Possession was better. So, no, real promising to see against winning one of the toughest places in MLS. So, let's see where we go from here, right?
I think the depth is something that's standing out about Sporting Kansas City, not only last year, but to also start this year. Speaking of depth, let's go to our last topic here, and this on the NCAA transfer portal. It's something that's been on a lot of people's mind and coaches' mind, especially when we're talking about building depth. Coaches are now building through the portal, and the NCAA granting this one-time waiver, allowing players to go anywhere without sitting out. I'm curious what you think the ripple effects of this will be. We'll start with you on this one, Shaun.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit silly, honestly. I have no issue with transfers, especially when I get the whole argument that if a kid transfers and you miss your year, it's tough. I get that. But we've almost opened the doors now to where, a player could have a great season and suddenly, go looking at jumping to a Power 5 conference team and, some of these non-Power 5, kind of mid-major schools getting out losing players left, right, and centre. And then the second part is I think also you're getting players who a school, let's say KU, go recruit players, their freshman, sophomore year, don't play much. And they're like, I'll go elsewhere. Quinton Grimes, for example, he's a great at Houston, don't get me wrong. But then you see guys in the past like Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, they were players early on in their career, but they stuck around, they earned their spots, and they became some of the best players in the nation because they stuck within a system. And now you've got players jumping about, not sticking with coaches. I don't think you're going to see as many players on that same trajectory going forward.
I want to bring Soren in on this because I'm hearing from coaches now there's a whole lot of brown nosing, if you will, to some of your players. If they don't have a first couple good weeks to start the year off, they're in the portal halfway through. Mm-hmm. What do you make of it, Soren?
What an amazing idea. You mean in a free country, you have free will to choose where you go, like any of us do right now. If I don't like my job, I just leave and go get another job. You mean they have that kind of freedom as well? I think it's great. Listen, I get it. Everyone, it's a shock to the system when something new comes about. Oh, my God, I don't know how it's going to work, so it must be bad. We fear what we don't know. I actually think it's been great for college basketball. I've read more about college basketball at this time of year than I have at any other time. You want to talk about interest? What's the one thing when college basketball is done, no one pays attention to it till the next year goes around. There's a little bit with the recruiting, a bunch of kids you've never heard of or seen play for the most part, unless you're a hardcore nerd grabbing the videos online. But for the most part, you don't know who these kids are. Same thing with football. Guys you've never seen play and you know nothing about. There's that 1 week and signing period where you kind of pay attention to it. Now we have free agency. Right? And free agency is what drives the NFL. It drives the NBA. Players, you know who they are, how they play, and you have a reason to be invested in the sport. I think there's more interest in college basketball right now and will be more in college football because of this, because there'll be an off season that you actually care about. For the coaches making between $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $9 million, $10 million for Coach K and Nick Saban, tough. deal with it, or give the check back and go coach high school. There's lots of places where you don't have to deal with this kind of thing. But giving the kids, doing what's right by the kids should be the first thing. This is right for the kids. Everybody else who's making all the money off the kids can just deal with it.
And Darren, if I was a normal student at the school, my transfer wouldn't even be national news, but you're dealing with student athletes, if you will. Take us home on this one.
Well, it's funny because Soren took most of my gustos, right? Because I'm a labor type guy. And one of the things that I will say is that I think the NCAA, they know that their time is almost done. Obviously, you know, with stuff running through the court system, and of course, they're going to be going in front of the Supreme Court dealing with this NIL, and of course, what Congress is trying to do. I think this is what you would call reparations, or one-time reparations that they're trying to do for a lot of these college athletes, especially with the money sports. Most of this stuff affects kids who are African American that are able to transfer. Like you said, if they're not able to play or get enough playing time, if they were highly recruited before, they'll be highly recruited once again. Look, one of the things that we're interested in now is who is Bill Self going to go out and get in a transfer portal? You know, what kind of kid can he attract? What kind of junior college kid? What kind of kid? I think there were players that are leaving Duke and even North Carolina that, of course, you know, there were 5-star athletes that you can go get somewhere else. If they're not going to put their name in the hat for the draft, and they can go somewhere else. Be like a Quentin Grimes. And look, it worked out well for him. And so, you know, we have to always stop trying to look at just the name on the uniform, you know, the front name and how it affects KU or how it affects Duke or how it affects anybody else. We got to start worrying about these athletes and what's best for them. And if it's best for them to not look, Quentin Grimes knew that he couldn't play in Bill Self's system, so he went someplace that played to his strength. He got him to the Final Four. He's had a better career than what he would have had he been at KU. So at the end of the day, I like it, I love it, and to be quite honest, I don't feel sorry for the coaches or the players. Excuse me, for the coaches or the schools at all.
Well, time's up for our first segment, but time's yours when we come back with our 3 S's as Smith, Shaun, and Soren. See what I did there?
If you printed out directions to get here today, you're in the right place. My seminars are a great tool to help young homeowners who are turning into their parents. Now remember, they're not programs, they're TV shows. You woke up early, no one cares. Yes?
So I was using something called Home Quote Explorer from Progressive to easily compare home insurance rates. Was I hashtagging?
Progressive can't help you from becoming your parents, but we can help you compare rates on home insurance with Home Quote Explorer.
Guess what? The waiter doesn't need to know your name.
The Volkswagen Tiguan has a lower maintenance cost than Subaru, Honda, and Toyota compact SUVs. Now's the time to sign then drive. Lease a new Tiguan for 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month payment, and 0 due at signing, or get 0% APR financing for 72 months.
Only your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer has genuine parts, accessories, trained service technicians, and the widest selection of industry-leading Cub Cadet products. We're here for you whenever you need us, with expert service and support to keep your equipment running at peak performance for years to come. Take advantage of exceptional financing offers from your local Cub Cadet dealer today. To find the dealer near you, visit cubcadetdealers.com.
KC Home Improvement Specialists, featuring Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Kansas City's technicians you can trust with your house keys. With an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau and the industry leader for over 70 years. For more information, visit kshb.com/KC Home Improvement.
Count on the 41 Storm Tracker and the 41 Action News weather team for instant updates and alerts. The 41 Storm Tracker, sponsored by Gladstone Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram.
If you rank midsize SUVs by lowest maintenance cost, the Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport are number 1 and 2. Now's the time to sign then drive. Hurry in and get a 2021 Atlas for 0% APR financing for 72 months and defer your first month's payment for 90 days.
You're watching the 7th Street Casino Sunday Soundoff with Aaron Ladd.
With that, time's yours. Anyways, with that, time's yours. With that, time's yours. 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 Time's yours.
We're back here on Sunday Soundoff with our S Squad, and we're taking our best Twitter questions and tossing them up. Let's start with you, Shaun, the first S of the group, and another S presented. That's Daniel Shallowy, who scored yesterday. The question comes from Daniel Sperry. Another S. I mean, it's too easy. Over under 9.5 goals and assists for Shallowy in 2021.
9.5 goal and assists. Yeah, I can definitely see it. And I think the big part that's playing into his favor right now is, Jesús Fernandez leaves the club after last season. And honestly, Sporting KC don't really bring in a replacement left winger from outside. That is Daniel Chaloui's best position. The last 2 seasons have been disappointing. Last night's goal was his first one since 2019. But you look at 2018, the kid had 11 goals. That's not even including the assists. So, if he can get some confidence back off his first goal, if he stays in that starting lineup, he's working with guys like Shelton and Pulido and Buzio behind him. Absolutely no reason why he can't push that 9.5 plus goals and assists. I guess my quick last point to that would be it's a contract year for him. His option was exercised through 2021. He has nothing set past this year. He needs a good year for Sporting KC.
We know the power of a contract year in sports. Next question is for the ship. It comes from my guy, Chase Lynn. He asks, was the Askren Paul fight from last night fixed? If you guys are into celebrity boxing. And then also, you think the Royals can stay hot for a majority of the season?
I answer the second question first. I do believe that the Royals can maintain. I think there'll still be a tab, maybe 4 games over 500 at the end of the day. But I do think, again, with that lineup, they can eke out a lot more wins than what they've done the previous seasons. As it relates to the first question, I don't think it was fixed. I think Jake Paul was going to win that fight regardless. I know, been asking MIZ, ZOU, they've suffered a lot of L's this season. They'll continue to do so in the future. But I will say this at the end of the day, the people who are laughing all the way to the bank, Jake Paul and Triller.
That hurts, man. We don't take Mizzou shots on this show. Let's go to Surrender, bring us home. Question from Larry Johnson as we inch closer to the NFL draft. He wonders which quarterback you think is likeliest to fall this year.
Yeah, and I think it's Trey Lance, just the limited number of starts. And I kind of bristle sometimes at the term falling. You can't fall because a mock draft was wrong and predicting where he was going to go doesn't mean, that he fell. It means that the NFL never saw him that highly. The group of teams with the needs that they had never had him there. If you draft and then draft again a month later and he goes 20 picks later, now he's fallen. But until it is, all this is just a hype leading up to it. But I think Lance is one of the things that's there, and I think teams will realize this, a lack of starts is something, and a lack of starts at a lower level is something you just don't know. Lance has great ability. He may end up being the best quarterback in this draft, but I think he's probably the biggest gamble, and I think you'll see teams moving up to get at some of the other quarterbacks, and he'll be the guy that slides down the board when it's all said and done.
A very, very, very quarterback-rich draft this year at the top. Time's up. On time's yours. But we got our final thoughts after the break. You're not going to want to miss that.
This week, we spend the day in North Carolina with Kyle Busch. The 2-time NASCAR champ opens up about his fiery personality.
What do you think about that period?
As well as Busch and his wife Samantha on their infertility challenges.
We have to start back at square one.
Plus, a tour of his shop and a makeshift race.
What do you think my prospects are in racing? You're starting a little late.
All that's coming up next on In Depth right here on 41 Action News.
For 70 years, Anthony has provided you with excellent customer service, technical expertise, and a job done right the first time. Your comfort, safety, and energy efficiency are our top priorities. That's why you know us as the technicians you can trust with your house keys. This month with our whole home triple play, receive an AC, electrical, and plumbing inspection all for only $199 and get your home in the game. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the technicians you have trusted for 70 years.
March 4th, 2015, I got out of the shower and felt a lump in my left breast.
We were able to quickly uncover that she had 2 subtypes of breast cancer, each of them requiring separate and unique treatment plans. This is why you come to the University of Kansas Cancer Center.
It is critical to be treated by a team of experts in that specific cancer type. If you don't start with us, I think you'll have more questions than answers.
Why would you go anywhere else?
Enter a California state of mind. Mango Card. A fruited wheat ale. Bursting with real mango. Go Mango.
Do you ever feel like life is just passing you by? If you want to make a difference, you could help save lives as a medical laboratory scientist. St. Louis University's Medical Laboratory Science Accelerated 16-month hybrid program is designed for transfer students with more than 60 credits, as well as those seeking a second bachelor's degree. Become a medical laboratory scientist. Search St. Louis University Hybrid MLS. Enroll today.
Sunday Soundoff is back, and we're getting our final thoughts from the S squad, starting with you, Mr. Soren Petro.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll go back to what we talked about with the Royals. Enjoy the journey. I think too often fans, it seems to be a contest to who can be the most negative or scream the loudest, when in reality, sports are there to be enjoyed. We have baseball every day. Hopefully during the pandemic and losing sports, we now are valuing getting a chance to see Royals baseball every day, see sporting once or twice a week, have the Chiefs, have the draft, have all these events. I remember how thrilled I was to be able to sit and talk about the NFL draft last year. We've got sports. Enjoy the journey. Win or lose, they're your teams, and enjoy following them.
Shaun Goodwin, you're up next.
I'm going to keep it quick and easy. I'm imploring everyone, if you can get the vaccine for COVID-19, please do. Just because, you know, I'm sitting at home, got a beer in hand, watching Royals game on TV. I want to be sitting in Kauffman Stadium with a beer in hand with several thousand more people watching a game. So let's make it happen, all right?
Bring us home, Darren Smith.
Look, I want to wish a happy anniversary to our good friend Mark Collins, played with the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. He was one of 7 plaintiffs to sue the NFL, and he became the NFL's version of Kurt Floyd, giving us free agency as we have today. And then also, not to want to do a shameless plug, but join me next Sunday, 10 a.m.
That's definitely a shameless plug. That's the definition of a shameless plug, right?
Right. The ship with Darren Smith, I'll be joined with an exclusive for the whole hour with the NFL Players Association Executive Director, Demore Smith. So he'll be joining me next Sunday for an entire hour. Everything's on the table, Deshaun Watson, the draft, everything we'll talk about.
Thank you so much for your time, fellas. We'll see y'all next week.